The phone rang at 4:57 a.m. on a bitter February morning. I know the exact minute because the green numbers on my old clock glowed like ghost light. I was already awake. Sleep comes in scraps at 68, listening to the wind claw at the farmhouse roof. The screen said, Maya. My granddaughter never calls before noon. Mama Ruth, she whispered, voice shaking like a candle in a storm. Whatever you do, don't wear the yellow scarf today. I sat straight up in the rocker. Child, that scarf is the only thing bright enough for the bus driver to see me in the dark. Just promise me, please. Maya, you scared me to death. You'll understand later. I love you. Click. I stared at the hook by the door. There hung my sunshine yellow scarf, hand-knitted, the last gift Leon brought home from Baltimore before cancer stole him. I'd worn it every cold morning for 6 years. Drivers spotted me a quarter-mile away. That morning, I left it hanging. I pulled on Mama's old navy shawl instead. Faded, smelling of cedar and church Sundays. Grandmothers listen when grandchildren sound that frightened. By 8:45, I was walking the snowy lane to the highway pull-off where the 920 county coach stops. Tuesdays and Saturdays are my days. Pharmacy, senior lunch, gossip, home before dark. No cars since Leon passed. Never needed one. But when I rounded the bend, I saw red and blue lights pulsing against the snowbanks, yellow tape flapping, white forensic tents, sheriff cruisers everywhere. Sergeant Calvin Hayes, boy I used to babysit, walked toward me hat in hand. Miss Ruth, there won't be a bus today. My heart dropped. What happened? Woman found just after dawn, wearing a yellow scarf, bright as yours, looked enough like you that the mailman called it in thinking it was you. The world tilted. I felt the cold bite straight through the navy shawl. By noon, they would find a forged deed in the dead woman's pocket. My farm signed over to my son and his wife with my signature on it, and Maya's phone would be unreachable. Calvin eased me into the warm cruiser. Snow hissed against the windshield. They found papers on her, he said quietly. Quitclaim deed. Transfers your entire farm to Jerome and Celeste. Dated 3 weeks ago. Your signature. Notarized. I laughed, but it came out hollow. Calvin, I never signed away Leon's and my life's work. He showed me a photo on his phone. My name, my looping handwriting, perfect, except I'd never seen the document before. The dead woman was Danielle Reeves, 34, clerk at County Property Records. Found strangled at my exact bus stop, wearing my yellow scarf. By 3 o'clock, Celeste's white Mercedes sat bold in my yard like she already owned the place. I walked in to find her rifling through my file cabinet, blonde hair perfect, designer coat draped over my kitchen chair. Ruth, thank God you're safe. She hugged me with one arm while the other clutched my tax folders. Jerome stood behind her looking sick. I stepped close. Celeste, take your manicured hands off my private papers and explain how my farm got deeded to you without me knowing. Her smile froze, then slipped. Just for a heartbeat, I saw the real woman, cold, calculating, triumphant. That night, Maya texted from a burner number. Mama Ruth, come alone to Riverside Grain Elevator midnight.
Code word fireflies. They're watching the house. Fireflies was our summer when she was 8, catching lightning bugs in mason jars on this very porch. If she used that word, it was really her, and she was terrified. I slipped out at 11:30, old Chevy pickup rumbling down back roads, headlights off the last mile. The yellow scarf stayed on its hook. I wore the navy shawl like armor. I was driving straight into a trap, only I didn't know yet that the trap had already killed once, and the next body was supposed to be mine.
The Riverside grain elevator rose like a decaying cathedral against the stars. 4 stories of broken windows, rusted chutes, snow drifting through the walls. I cut the engine and listened to the river roar below. My flashlight carved a tunnel through the dark. "Maya," I called softly. A whisper floated down. "Up here, Mama Ruth." I climbed creaking wooden stairs, heart hammering. On the top floor, moonlight slashed through gaps in the boards. Maya sat on an old crate, thin, eyes red from crying. She flew into my arms. "I'm so sorry. I didn't know it would go this far." "Talk to me, baby." Between sobs, the story spilled out. Danielle had been Maya's friend. Then Celeste paid inside her. Danielle forged the deed using old samples of my signature. When she grew a conscience and threatened to expose everything, Celeste had her silenced and dressed in my yellow scarf so the murder would look like a warning gone wrong. Maya had overheard the plan, stolen Danielle's backup drive, and called me at 5 a.m. She pressed a small black flash drive into my palm. "Everything's on here, but part is encrypted. Password died with her." Footsteps echoed below. Heavy, multiple. We killed our lights. A flashlight beam swept the stairwell. A familiar voice called up, syrupy sweet. "Miss Ruth, Lieutenant Barlow, Sergeant Hayes sent us to check on you." Maya's hand tightened on mine. Lieutenant Barlow was Celeste's pocket cop. We were cornered 4 stories up, river on one side, armed men on the other, and the only way out was the phone in my pocket and one desperate idea. 3 men climbed into the moonlight, Lieutenant Barlow in uniform, smiling like a wolf, Celeste in a black parka, no longer pretending to be the caring daughter-in-law, and a hired thug whose neck was thicker than my thigh. Celeste stepped forward. "Let's keep this simple. Hand over the drive, sign the new papers confirming the gift was voluntary, and you live peacefully here the rest of your days. Refuse?" She shrugged. "Old ladies fall down elevator shafts all the time." Barlow rested his hand on his holster. I felt Maya trembling beside me. I squeezed her fingers once. Steady. I lifted my phone so the screen faced them. The little red dot glowed. "See this? Live streaming right now to Sergeant Hayes, the county dispatcher, and 3 newsrooms, audio and video. One more step and the whole state watches you murder us." Celeste's face twisted. "You're bluffing." "Test me." Barlow took a half step. The thug reached inside his coat. Then the world exploded with light and sound. "Police, hands up, drop it." Sergeant Calvin Hayes and a tactical team poured in from every side, doors kicked open, rifles raised, red dots dancing on chests. I'd texted Calvin the moment I parked. "If I go silent 30 minutes, send everyone." Celeste screamed as cuffs snapped on her wrists. Barlow dropped his gun like it burned him. Maya buried her face in my shoulder and sobbed, not from fear anymore, but relief. We thought we'd won, but the real evidence, the one that would bury an entire ring of predators, was still locked behind a dead woman's password, and someone powerful was already moving to make sure it stayed buried forever.
2 days later, Celeste was out on bail, smiling for the cameras, claiming she was the real victim. That same afternoon, her lawyers filed to have me declared mentally incompetent, using the forged power of attorney she'd slipped in with insurance forms months ago. Then came the anonymous text: "Sign everything over voluntarily in 24 hours or lose the people you love." Maya and I knew the first flash drive wasn't enough. We needed Danielle's final insurance policy. Danielle's real name had been Danielle Harrington. Her grandmother's homestead in Red Pines had burned accidentally after a similar deal with Celeste's company, Heritage Home Solutions. If Danielle hid a second drive anywhere, it would be there. We drove at dusk, me, Maya, and my son Jerome, who was finally seeing his wife for what she was. Fresh tire tracks already scarred the snow around the burnt-out house. Inside the leaning shed, we found it: a rusted coffee can under a loose floorboard marked with a childish carving, Danielle's old pony, Starlight. Inside, another flash drive and a note in shaking handwriting: "If you're reading this, I'm dead. Password Starlight9988. Use it or they'll keep killing grandmothers." Headlights swept the yard. 3 vehicles. Celeste stepped out with her lawyer and 2 more hired men. "You're trespassing," she sneered. "That looks terrible for your competency hearing tomorrow." I smiled for the first time in days. I held the one thing that could send them all to prison for life, and the live stream on my phone was already rolling again. I turned the phone so they saw the red recording dot. "Live again," I said calmly. "State Police, FBI tip line, and every major network. Keep talking, Celeste." Her lawyer lunged for the phone. Tactical floodlights blasted on, dozens of agents in raid jackets pouring from the tree line. Calvin Hayes stepped forward, warrant in hand. "Celeste Langston, you are under arrest for murder, conspiracy, fraud." Celeste shrieked as they cuffed her. Her lawyer went pale as the note and drive were bagged as evidence. That night, experts cracked Starlight 9998. What spilled out wasn't just my forged deed. It was 11 more, 11 elderly people who died peacefully after signing their farms to Celeste's shell companies. Bank records, taped confessions, payoff ledgers, even video of Celeste laughing that old folks die anyway, the land shouldn't go to waste. The ring shattered overnight. Arrests rolled across 3 counties. But one unsigned text came through at 3 a.m. "You opened a door that was meant to stay locked. This isn't over." 6 months later, the trials still crawl, but the farm is mine again. Every acre, every memory. Celeste got life. Her lawyer took 25 years. The crooked lieutenant and half the county office are behind bars. Jerome filed for divorce the day the verdict came down. He lives in the bunkhouse now, learning how to be a son instead of a bystander. Maya moved home, changed her major to law. She wants to protect other grandmothers who still believe pretty smiles and just sign here. Some nights, I still wake at 4:57, half expecting the phone. When it stays silent, I smile and sleep again. Spring came soft and green. Maya and I planted strawberries, rows twice as long as before. We knelt in the dirt side by side, hands black with soil, laughing when the plants fought back. Jerome brought lemonade and sat on the porch steps, watching us like he was seeing his mother and daughter for the first time. The yellow scarf still hangs by the door. I never wear it again. The navy shawl is warm enough. One evening at sunset, I sat on the porch, coffee cooling in my hand. Maya came out, rested her head on my shoulder like when she was small. "We did it, Mama Ruth." "No, baby," I said, looking at the fields Leon and I broke our backs for. "Danielle did it. We just refused to stay quiet." The strawberries are ripening now. We eat them straight off the vine, juice running down our chins, sweet and sun-warm. Some battles you don't win with fists or lawyers. You win them by leaving a yellow scarf on a hook one cold morning and daring to believe a terrified child who begged you not to wear it. And if you ever hear a grandchild call at 5 in the morning sounding scared, hang up whatever they tell you to. You might just save your own life.